So welcome back, Scott.
Thank you, Lucas. Great to be back.
Yeah, so we've recorded two videos so far, and I'll link them in the description below. One of them was about your life as a tango nomad, so you're a digital nomad and traveling the world. And now you're starting a new initiative with a social network built specifically for tango, which according to you, will really like fill a void there is right now in the way we communicate as a global tango community. And you asked me to do a video together about this, and I really wanted to. Um, I was really interested in the topic, right? I really wanted to know what you're going to offer, and I also would like to discuss what uh, what his network is going to do differently, so to say. And just a short disclaimer, like I'm not getting this is not a sponsored video or something, so I'm not getting paid to share this. I don't like ever do any of these sponsorships, but I just wanted people to know because on YouTube there's a lot of business things going on in that regard. But this is really for me. I just really want to encourage this project because I'm personally concerned. I don't really talk about that much on my YouTube channel, but as a person, I'm quite concerned about the negative effects on our mental health we get from social networks like Facebook that are purposely built to keep us hooked all the time and constantly connected. And we can maybe discuss that later. I think that's not the main point of the video, but it's a reason why I think your initiative might be really interesting. And so I'll just give you the space to introduce us to it.
Great. Yeah. So the platform that I'm creating is called Mundo Tango. And it's coming out of this sense that as you said, the current platforms that exist just aren't helping anything, right? If you look at Facebook, there's no real community around it where we can gather and we can kind of build on our community and strengthen it and support all of our professionals that are in it, right? It's just this blanket tool that's available and there. And the other platforms are, and it's all turning into more of platforms for content creators where they're making money, right? So it's a bunch of garbage, really. Um, so Mundo Tango, the thought is we have this incredible community already around the world. So why don't we organize and pull us all into one place? I know in my conversations and for myself that a lot of people don't actually like to be on Facebook because it's such a time waster in so many ways. And but the only reason that we are on it is because of Tango. Because that's what it's been for, the last 15, 20 years, whatever it might be, right? We don't have another option. And even if you look at Instagram or the new platform that they created called Feeds, which is like X or Snapchat, like it's all basically the same, just in different versions, right? So with Mundo Tango, it's this idea that if we're all on one spot, then we can really come together as a team and or as a community rather, and really make an impact for for our little community, right? It's not that little really, but that's, I mean, that's another point. We don't know how big Tango is. So showing more visibility, like for the first time, where does tango exist around the world? I've been, as a nomad, I've been all over the world at this point, and still more to go, obviously. But everywhere I go, there's a little bit of tango, right? And I was in Bali recently. Years ago, I was in Hawaii on the small island, and there's little communities there that you can go to and have a great time. And for me, it's experiencing that moment of connection, right? No matter where you are, that you don't need to know the language. You just show up and your language is tango and you immediately make friends. So for me, this is the basis of tango, right? Being able to walk into a space and make friends easily. Um, so making it easier to do that. And then with our professionals, finding ways to bring more attention to them give them more resources, bring them more participation in whatever sense that might be. If they're teachers, bring them more students, maybe helping the teachers find more creative ways to do outreach to their to both their local tango community and their non-tango community so that they can get new students, right? If we come together and find people who are interested to help the tango world market tango to their communities, then we have a more powerful, engine to find new tango dancers, right? And keep those dancers engaged, which then means we grow the community exponentially over time, which means more events, more students, more DJs, more musicians, like everything all at once. It just snowball effects. And then at the same time, there have been a number of apps or websites that people have created that are really great, but because people don't know to go there, they're kind of lost, right? So again, the idea is if we have a reason to be somewhere, so this social platform to start, and then we can engage with these other platforms or apps, then those people get more engagement and get more money as well. So it's really trying to make an online community, right? Versus what we currently have, which is just it's a free for all, and it's exhausting for everyone. Um, yeah,
So can you go a bit more into why it's exhausting?
yeah, it's exhausting. For Facebook, it's exhausting because all of the ads for one. Like there have been days where I'm scrolling on my newsfeed looking at my friends, and I see 4 or 5 ads in a row. Or you click on that one video that is of interest for like tango, like a performance or something. And the next thing you know, you're looking at all of these other videos from who knows who, right? That I don't really care about, but I watch them because that's entertainment now. Um, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I spend hours sometimes just as a zombie going through videos and watching stuff.
That's
Versus I'd
exactly the
rather
intention of the makers of this website and all these other
exactly,
platforms. Yeah, to
exactly.
keep you as
But I'd
engaged as
rather,
possible.
yes, yes, but I'd rather be engaged with my friends and with professionals in this industry to support them. So for seeing different once you click into that one video, then you do see like other maybe people posting their classes or their performances or something about an event or you know things like this. I'd rather see that than a silly cat video or some I I end up liking like power washing videos, that I get that every once in a while. So I'd rather see the thing that actually is my love, my life love, is tango. I've done it for so many years that I'd rather see that. But right now, there's not a way to even filter or kind of pick what you want to see. You're forced to see this garbage. Um, so yeah, and I mean, there's been so many studies that show that being on social media in this way, it's so detrimental to your health, to your sleep, to your social connections with people. I mean, people have become way less social with each other to the point where they don't even know how to talk to people anymore. So how do we change that? We change it by, I think, by having a real reason to be on social media. And for us, the real reason is because of tango, to find events, to find that person you danced with last night, to find teachers or listen to a new band that just released a new album. Um, yeah, like these things. How do we people put a lot of time, effort, money, intention into tango in so many different ways. So how do we really support them in the work that they've done? Um, and I think this is one of the ways to do it.
Yeah, so can you give me some practical examples of how you would do things differently?
Yeah.
For example,
So
if you imagine going to this website and opening it when it's in full swing, just a theoretical situation, but hopefully it will one day be a reality. I go to this website, what do I see? Like on
yeah.
Facebook, if I go to Facebook, like I actually actively block out the feed. So that's pretty much the news part of Facebook. I just block
Okay.
it with an extension so I don't see it. Um,
Mhm.
but once I actually start looking at it, like it's a lot of crap, pretty much. But it's also
Yeah.
people, for example, people fighting with each other over politics, or people just showing the success of their lives. And I mean, it's kind of always the same formula.
Yeah. It kind of will be similar to that, but again, it's this idea that it's with more of that tango intention behind it. So when you log on for the first time, obviously there will be a registration, but then you'll have a profile with your wall where you can post things and a news feed where you will be able to see your friends and other friends of friends who have posted things. The one of the first things that's different though is there's a filter so that you can filter out if you want to see everything or just your friends. We'll eventually get to a point where you can filter for maybe you want to just look at your friends from a specific city, or maybe you've created a specific user group list. Like you just want to see your friends that you've traveled with specifically. You want to kind of be up to date with those people because maybe they're a little bit closer to you, right? So giving the ability for the users to really decide what they want to see versus again right now Facebook you're just forced to see it based on some algorithm, right? So Mundo Tango's it's giving in every part of the features there is more
Customization.
user decision, yeah, customization, user decision that I want to see this, I want to do that, you know, which doesn't exist on Facebook right now, or maybe in some limited form. But I'm going to be taking it to another level. So that's the first big piece. The other one is um, I want to make friendship connections deeper, right? Right now, when you send a request to somebody, it's just a button. It's easy to click, and the person gets it, but there's no details. I don't know anything about you. Hopefully we met recently, but maybe not, right? So it's starting with you, the requester has a little form to fill out with some basic questions. Have we danced? Where did we meet? Do we have any photos together? Do you have a little message to send me? Like, oh yeah, we had this great conversation about going to space, and then we had this incredible pugliese tanda at some milonga, right? And then you can write, and this is big for me, a little personal note to yourself to remind you of that person. Oh yeah, that person has, blue hair and rings and wears high heels, that anything to help you remember them a little bit more, right? And then of course when the person receives it, they have all of that information that was just sent, and then also just basic information about the person, like are they are they a teacher, an organizer, a DJ? Where do they live? Things like this. And I can also send a note back to them and write a personal note for myself. So then that's the start of our friendship. And you can then see our friendship as a whole. Facebook has this kind of, it's very buried. Um, but with Mundo Tango, we're going to have kind of everything there. So any posts that you have been tagged on with each other, any photos, videos, and more importantly as well, I think anything that you have, anything else you've engaged with. So if I've liked your post or you've liked my post or we've commented on each other's posts, because for me that's part of the friendship too. Like what are the things that you're doing that I'm interested in, right? Because that could eventually feed into other like recommendations or recommendations to go out to dinner or to an event or to whatever it might be, right? So that really is a big piece there. Um, and then the other piece is, of course, we can't have tango without events, right? Right now, the events on Facebook are just kind of not very helpful anymore. I feel like they were helpful maybe 5, 10 years ago, and people were really kind of using them more versus what we'll do on Mundo Tango is very clearly dedicated to tango type of events. You've got your maybe a one-off event, you've got your regular weekly or monthly events, you've got your bigger events, your encuentros, marathons, festivals, competitions, things like this. So having a platform where it's all in one place, making it easy for both event organizers and participants. Event organizers to set everything up in one space, and they don't have to buy a separate event registration platform, or they don't have to build a full website for themselves. It's all here in one place. And then for participants, it's easier to find things. And eventually, the more things you start to go to, the better recommendations that you can get, right? Like I've checked into these 10 types of events and I'm looking for my next one. Well, what should I go to? Okay, well, based on what you've been to, here are five events that are coming up in Europe that you should think about, right? Or two in Europe and one in Asia. Um, so really kind of allowing the users to leverage the data that they've added to Mundo Tango to give them the better recommendations, right? Um, I know for me, like looking at the recommendations that Facebook gives for events, it's like I'm not interested in any of the things that they offer me, right? And when I try and do filtering that they have, it still doesn't give me anything of real interest. Um, and when I'm trying to find tango events, I mean, good luck. It's hard to find sometimes. So events are going to be a huge thing. The other really big thing is there will be automation around a few pieces of data. The first one is based on where you live, or maybe we'll put it as where you dance tango the most, right? So you say you live in Buenos Aires or Paris, and you're automatically added to that city group. And then it has all of the resources you might need for that city. I've just moved to Paris. I don't know what to do, where to go, who to talk to, right? But with this, it would be able to show you, who the people are that are there. Who are the organizers, the DJs, the musicians, maybe the orchestras, the photographers or videographers, etc. Like anything you do in Tango, that will be listed there, right, as you self-identify. Which means you join in and you can say, I want to take a class from somebody. Who should I take from? Oh, well, this teacher's here. Great. So that's part of it. And then the ability to have events obviously coming into the city group. So you can see all of the events that are happening there, being able to filter them by what type of event, um, at what date, a calendar of when you're going to be there, as well as a map. And the map is also interesting because the plan is to have not only events, but also hosting. So if somebody has an extra couch or a bed, or they're listing their apartment, that will be another layer on top of this map. So then you can start to see, oh, I want to go, to these milongas that are this week, and I can then see, oh, these people are offering their homes as well. So maybe I can stay with them. Um, and then the last piece with the map is recommendations. So as you start posting and doing stuff on MundoTango, one of the options will be a recommendation option. So when you include that, then it's a recommendation that you can put in for a restaurant, a bar, a museum, some touristy thing, and it will add it to the city group. So then you can see, what should I do in this city, right? And you can filter by locals or visitors. When I visit somewhere as nomad, the local taste isn't always what I'm looking for. I'm also looking for other stuff. Like currently in Buenos Aires, yes, the empanadas and the meat and the alfajores are great, and it's a huge staple. But I don't want that every day. So where is everybody else going? So, and I'd rather take recommendations from my friends or friends of friends versus Google. At this point, Google, there's so many recommendations for so many different things. It's hard to really understand where or what to do. So having that as a feature. So city groups is a big piece. Then the other automation will be around what you do in Tango. So this will create groups specifically for people who identify as teachers, musicians, DJs, etc., so that we can hopefully start creating more conversations with people around the world to share ideas and to share experiences. One example is, I want to start a new community somewhere. I don't know what to do. I don't even know who to ask. I do, but in general, a person. So allowing them to gain access to resources from people who have created communities before. What did they do right? What did they do wrong? What advice can they offer? Or, a big one in a number of places is creating a safe space. What does creating a safe space mean? And how do you talk about it? And how do you implement it? And how do you engage your fellow community leaders or the participants to create a safe space? Right now, unless you know the right people, you won't know how to do that. And so much more with these types of groups, offering real communication together. And then the last piece that's kind of very important, I think, to people who do travel a lot. So teachers, DJs, photographers, etc., having an event schedule on their profile. So right now, when a teacher decides to go on tour, they post the one post, but then it's kind of forgotten because that's how social media is. So then if I want to take classes with, we'll say, Horacio Godoy, well, where is his schedule? I don't know. I check his profile. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. I go to, maybe they have a website, maybe they have a page, it's just not easy. So if it's all in one spot, where you can then share it and make a post about it, or get people excited, then that's a big thing. As well as this would feed into the city groups. So let's say for me, I'm just a dancer, so I show up. I say I'm going to be in Brazil, in Rio, and I don't know anything about Rio. So if I put that on my profile saying I'm going to Rio, then in the city groups, it will indicate that maybe a couple days before I arrive, hey, Scott's in town, watch out for him. In this idea of, let's try and give people who are visiting a better time. I've talked to many people over the years that have traveled to both big and small cities, where they say that they haven't had a good time because they don't know anyone, and no one was nice enough to approach them to be like, "Hey, it looks like you're new. Like, can I help you with something?" Um, so having this, I think, will engage the community more, especially because, when people go out, we're not focused on the new people as much. We go out to spend time with our friends and dance with our friends, and that's about it, right? So we're not looking for anyone else. But if there was a way to indicate that this person's in town, let's show them a good time, then maybe they'll get more dances, right? Um, so yeah, those are a few of the big changes at the moment that I have planned.
So why are some of these work things, for example, the groups on Facebook, not working?
For groups, it's um there's just so many of them, and it's so unruly that it's hard to know what to look at. And I feel like people are so turned off by kind of looking deeper, um, because it's just too much. Um, there's no real reason to look at the groups. I find a lot of the times, and people get confused between groups and pages and events sometimes, and sometimes some organizers or teachers, they make all three, and then they have their
Yeah.
profile. So then it's like, where do I look? I don't know what to do, right? Um, so having more intention with the groups. I'm I'm I don't think I'm going to have groups be kind of open and free for all at the moment. It will be these based on these automations to kind of keep things more tight knit, right? There will be kind of open groups to create in the city group or in the what do you do groups, but have it be, part of that. It's not just all over the place, right? So then when you're like, oh, I want to look at the group that was created in the Paris city group about going on a hike, then I know that it's in my city group and I know exactly where to find it, right? Um, so yeah, having more intentionality behind it, and reduction of the noise that exists out there. Really trying to streamline and help people focus on the things that matter to them. You can follow different cities. If you go to these five cities all the time and you want to be up to date on them, then you can take that, right, and then you can follow the other groups within. But yeah,
So to summarize it in a way, we're all using platforms that were not originally built for this niche we are in. And that's also a problem because they're just built to make profit, and they're also built with a lot of manipulation to make a lot of profit, like at the expense of our mental health. So it's a combination of being more intentional about everything,
yeah,
with just more of a basic centralized structure built for tango. So that's pretty much
exactly.
what the idea is about, right?
Yes, exactly.
So so about like the mental health aspects or the addiction aspects that you have in social media, like
Mhm.
what would you do differently? Is there a way to make it engaging without the usual costs of, for example, having scrolled something for 2 hours and thinking, what the hell did I just do? Instead of
Yes,
thinking like, oh, okay, I read some interesting things. This was worth my time. I mean, that's the intention people have when they go to
yes,
Facebook groups or when they scroll their Facebook timeline. So
yeah.
what can we improve about that?
From the psychology standpoint, I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not, 100% sure. But for me, it's if it's a platform that has a reason to be on it, like you don't have to go on it every day, right? So that's a big thing I think for me is I feel sucked in to Facebook like I gotta check it. I gotta see what happened, right? But if we have a platform that has a real reason to exist, then I think that that would change our mentality a bit more. It wouldn't be as time consuming, as soul sucking that Facebook is right now. Um, because you're actually looking at things that could actually help you, right? Either finding that right event, finding a teacher, finding that new band, hearing their new music, reading researchers. There's so many researchers that have done incredible work, but there's not a single place to kind of
Hmm.
find all that detail, right? So or I just went last night to go see Oliver Kolker's Bean movie that he released a few years ago. There's not a place to watch tango videos. So it's for me, that's the big piece. I don't know if that will necessarily change the psychological point of view of it, but I think instead of it just being garbage that you're scrolling through, and it's that you're reading things or watching things that are actually relevant to this community, to our hobby, to our profession, then I think that would make a big difference in people's in engagement with each other, to how they communicate, to how they participate at events. Um, I think it will bring more mindfulness to people, is what I'm hoping.
There's certainly some problems with conventional social media. For example, the algorithm of Facebook actually rewards people who post something controversial because
Yeah,
if you get comments, for example, the more comments you get, the more your post is shown to people. So on the other side, that actually means that if you're not being controversial, or if you're not as good at communicating something in a marketing type of way, then people will simply not be shown that content. So
yeah,
it's not a fair playing field.
no, not at all.
A lot of people don't know
Um,
that, but I was frustrated in the past when I posted things that were important to me and they were simply not really seen. And I thought it
yeah,
was the people's, well, that sounds kind of political, but it was people's fault for not looking at my post. But actually, there was an
yeah,
algorithm behind it that just made my posts invisible. And there's even something called shadow banning, that if
mhm,
you've maybe posted something that's considered offensive, you may actually be like, for example, what's the word? Punished for doing something, and then people
yeah,
just won't be shown your posts. So there
yeah,
are various reasons why you may think, because you're just a normal human and just a naive human who thinks that the world is built for good,
yeah.
for with good intentions, and then you're being manipulated by this gambling machine, which is pretty.
Exactly. No, and I've felt that exact same thing. I've posted things that I thought were interesting, cool, relevant, whatever it might be, thinking that, oh yeah, people are going to be really engaged, they're going to love this, but nothing. And I've had posts that have been shadow banned before. I think because I had too many links or something in them. So, but it's again, it's like this is relevant to what I'm saying. So why are you blocking me? Um,
Well, that's
so
not even
yeah,
a problem. Like most people think it's because of themselves or because of their friends, like their audience,
yes,
but it's
yeah,
actually
yeah,
not the case. Or
no,
sometimes
at
maybe it is,
all.
but you just like most of the problem is the algorithm.
Exactly. Show me the love, guys. Like and comment. Why not? Yeah, no, it's really annoying. You just want to. You've created this friend base, but you can't even talk to them in an effective way because Facebook is blocking you from doing the things that you want to do. Um, yeah, so I'm not going to do that. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's good to keep that in mind for your future work. That
exactly.
there's also ethical ways to run a business,
Yeah,
and we live in a world full of manipulation and deceit, and it's sadly all legal, and people don't even realize how they're being duped. And that's that
yeah,
that's just crazy. Like actually, Facebook, if you every time when you post something, it's actually a gambling effect because you're
mm,
expecting a reward. Like there have been comparisons with pigeons. Like there have been research with pigeons. Like what happens in the brains of pigeons
mm,
when they are able to open a certain type of gap with food in it or something like
Hmm.
it's very comparable. Like it just sounds like bogus when I say it like this, but there's actually been serious research that shows that it's like pulling the gambling machine if you're posting
Yeah,
something on
yeah.
Facebook, and it's just not a level playing field, like I was saying.
No.
So
It's definitely it's I think it's a dopamine and serotonin thing, back to it that it's a reward mechanism. So every like that you get, it's a treat. And you're like, oh, I got another one. Oh, I'm up to 50. Oh, I'm up to 100. Yeah, it's definitely pulling that slot machine. Um, yeah, I mean, I mean, of course, there will be, when you make a post, there will be an option to like and comment and share. So there will still be, I'm sure, a portion of that, but um, which we can't avoid, with social media in general, right? Unless somebody can wants to team up with me to give me a different way to engage with posts, right? Um, but yeah, it is something that's really detrimental in the way that I think Facebook has implemented it. I'd rather, like I said, one of the features is being able to filter what you see.
yeah.
You are in control of your data, and what it put in front of your eyes, right? I think that's a huge piece. Being able to just hone in on your community. I just want to see what's happening I'm living in Buenos Aires right now. So what happens in Buenos Aires and who are all my friends that are posting? But I also want to, 10 minutes later, I want to see what's happening in London. Um, so being able to, or even as just a person who hasn't visited these places, you could filter and start to see, oh, what does the London community look like? Somebody took a video at a London Milonga last night. Oh, well, that what they're doing is really cool. Maybe we could do that in our community, right? Things like that. Trying to inspire people based on allowing them to see the things that they want to see, right? Um, yeah.
So just moving on to a different question. So do you think this has been tried before? And if it has been tried before, you must have studied that. Why
Mm.
did it fail? Because there's so many social networks. For example, I'm immediately thinking of Google Plus, which is something people probably don't even remember that well anymore. But it's like a lot of initiatives just fail.
Yeah. Yeah, I've looked around and I've not seen anything like this. Um, a full platform just for a single community. I would say the closest one that I saw was, oh, the name escapes me now. Tribe, like join a tribe or something like this. Um, where it was one platform where it was basically creating a single group for that tribe of whatever it was. And it had some things, but not to the extent of what I have.
No, no.
Um, and looking at even other communities, I haven't seen anything like this. For other dances like swing and salsa or um, or techno. Yeah, I've got friends in these spaces. They say they've never seen something like this, or even I scuba dive from time to time as well, and nothing there by any means. So yeah, I've not found anything similar to what I'm building at the moment.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually recently I had something in my mind when I was DJing, and I was thinking of the like there used to be, maybe there still is a Yahoo group for tango DJs, and I remember when you would post something there, everyone would just see that, and of course
Mhm.
if it was 5 days old, maybe it would get less attention. But now I wouldn't know how to do that on Facebook because you can just make a post, or maybe there's some Facebook group somewhere, but everything's so incredibly fragmented.
Yeah.
And what you're trying to do reminds me of forums back in the day when
Mm.
you just had one central place and it just made much more sense than Facebook does
Yes.
now. So to avoid
Yes.
repetition, I'm not going to say much more about that. because you already
Mhm.
explained it, but that it does remind me of like it makes sense to build something for a certain purpose instead of just putting a really vague framework and pushing it onto a community because it's not
Exactly.
working.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot. Like people don't. I don't really look at Facebook, or I even heard someone say last weekend, like people don't really like. Someone said like I hear that more and more that people are not using Facebook anymore. Like it's a trend, and
Yes, very much so.
yeah. So I hope you can reverse that trend in the right direction. And yeah,
I
yeah.
hope so.
So tell me a bit about your fundraiser.
Yeah. So the fundraiser, it's happening now. It's open for folks to make donations. I also have affiliate links. So what that means is if you are planning to travel, I have a few travel sites or buy something from Amazon. Then if you use my links and I'll give them to you as well, and then a portion of the proceeds there or the of your purchase comes to Mundo Tango. So yeah,
So why did you decide to launch this campaign? And um, what is in there for people? Like it's always a difficult question, but um, for example, I suppose you need some level of financing in the beginning.
yes.
Um, and but like, can you give people some like encouragement? Like, why should they support you? Like, it's a bit of a weird question, but I feel think it's a useful one to
Sure.
ask.
Yeah. So I I have financed everything on my own at this point, but it does cost a lot of money to
Yeah,
make a really good functioning website or app. Um, so I'm at the moment looking to hopefully recoup some of the costs that I've put in. Not even thinking about the time that I've put in, just the actual money that I spent on the creation. Um, but then looking at more features. I've got ideas like crazy. I pull on the string of one feature idea and I can see how many other features come out of it, right? So, at the beginning, the big pieces right now are this will be a web app, right? So you ideally want to access it from your computer. You'll be able to access it from your mobile device, but the experience won't be as good, right? Um, but to create a mobile app, it's I think $25,000 plus, right? Or adding multi-language
because you're
capabilities.
you're hiring developers, I suppose. Because you're not
Yes,
doing everything on your own. Because people who don't know anything about tech, they
exactly.
might think right now that you're the guy. You're planning everything and you're doing all the networking, but you're also building
Yep.
the website and you're building 10,000 functionalities. But I mean, the world doesn't look like that. So
No, yeah. No, yeah, I created the initial front end design, so what
okay,
everybody
okay,
will see.
oh, that's good. Okay,
But I'm not a UX designer. So I did the best that I could and the team that I hired to build it, they of course helped kind of clean up the design a bit more and then they created the back end, so how it actually functions and how the website actually works. So they've quoted me these prices, 25,000 plus dollars for a mobile app. But ideally, I also would prefer for Mundo Tango to be built by and for Tango. So I'm looking for partnerships across the board, because I've not done a lot of this. I'm not an engineer. I don't know how to build stuff. I'm not a CEO. I'm not a finance person. I'm not a sales guy. I just have this really cool idea that I think will benefit a lot of people in a lot of ways. So I'm hoping that at the beginning here, these types of conversations and the things that I'm posting will inspire people to be interested and to look at Mundo Tango in a way that it's interesting to them, and engage them to be part of it in whatever way you can, whether that's that direct donation through GoFundMe or partnering with me, um, and to create something awesome, because like I said, I've got features that go on for days, and I could talk about this for days, right? So I've got lots of work in the engineering realm, but then of course I need to figure out all of the other logistics about about it, and I'm just a team of one right now, so it's quite daunting.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I so even to the point where I'm lucky that I can talk to a number of the organizers for events in Europe, so that I can be a promoter with them, and they said that they are happy and excited to partner with me on Mundo Tango, and so I'll be able to start kind of getting the word out more in Europe this summer. I'll be there starting in April. Um, so I'm really excited for those partnerships. And yeah, so I'm trying to hit it from all sides.
Yes. So essentially, it's not all just about direct donation,
No,
which would be awesome considering all the costs you have to make. But it's also you also encourage people to contact you. So I'll leave your contact details in the
please.
video description. So if anyone has like any skills or a good idea, maybe they can contact you to
Exactly.
help. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything we have missed that you would like to add here?
I think that's it. But yeah, we talked about kind of the overarching concept of what Mundo Tango is, how we think it will change the tango world, and your engagement with social media, and how you can be engaged in creating this thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a good spot.
Yes. So will there be some kind of demo for people to look at, or some videos, some promotion videos? Because that would also be interesting to link. Maybe if it's not available now, I mean, I understand that, but if it becomes available
Yeah,
eventually, it's good to have like a media strategy as well to
exactly.
get people
Yeah, so
engaged.
I exactly. So I have the easiest right now is of course what we're currently on, Facebook and Instagram. So I do have channels for Mundo Tango on both. And of course I'm posting a lot. So following all of these or whichever one you prefer is one option. And then the other option is the website that I have, the lack of a better term, the marketing website. Um, has more information similar to what we've talked about, and then of course videos for a few of the features that will be released at the beginning here. Um, so yeah, so if people want to see what Mundo Tango will look like, that's where they can go, and I can give you that link as well.
So can you maybe repeat the release window, or the like
Yeah,
the roadmap, as it is
exactly.
called in this type of
Yeah. So let's see, where are we? So um, the team has been working on it since June. I'm getting access to it the full backend code base next week, which means it's then technically mine, which is a great step. Um, and then it's about a month and a half or so of testing for me, user testing with friends, and making backend changes to kind of refine things. And so I'm looking to launch sometime in March.
okay.
Yeah, so it's around the corner.
Yes, well, it's good stuff, and I'm looking forward to see it like uh, develop itself in a way, because one part is of course literal development by um, the team behind it, but then
Yeah,
there's also the users that need to uh, provide their input by using the platform, and I'm really
exactly.
excited to see it be built up, because it kind of reminds me of the days when I joined Facebook for Tango. Like some things were quite exciting. There were some really exciting groups where people we're just sharing interesting tangos or talking about things that actually matter. And I feel like nowadays it's also fragmented that I do not even bother anymore.
Yeah.
So it's yeah. So
Yeah, because we're so inundated all the time that it just it hurts your brain.
it's exhausting.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The only other last piece is it's kind of a big announcement that I have my first tech partnership today with my friend Tomas from Poland slash Hungary. He created an event registration platform, which is incredible. So we are going to be working together to have his platform integrate with Mundo Tango. So for events, it will be this beautiful, streamlined space for both organizers and participants. Yeah, and I'll give you his information as well.
So for example, right now you would be using something like Google Forms or
No, right
uh
now what's currently being built by my team is just a simple single event,
okay.
but his platform encompasses everything. Allowing for, if it's a festival, allowing for workshops and details about everything and taking payment and things like this. So yeah,
So it
but
sounds
we
like a
will.
miniature version of what you're trying to achieve. But what you're trying to achieve is, of course, much broader, but it's like one of the pillars of what you're trying to, like someone came up with the idea to build something purpose specific. And that's
Yes,
what you were trying to do too. So I can really see the benefit of integrating a
exactly.
project like that. So
Yeah, so today was a very exciting day. Yes.
yes, well, congratulations with that. And I just want
Thank
to
you.
wish you the best of luck. And I'll be following the project from now on. And it was nice to be able to talk with you about it.
Same here. Thank you for taking the time. So we'll also have a feature that will allow you to cross post. So similar to what you see on Facebook or Instagram, where it allows you to send it to the other, you'll be able to do that here on Mundo Tango as well. So that when you make a post and eventually for an event as well, you will have the option to post it to Facebook and or Instagram, depending on what the content is. So you're telling people that you're connected with on MundoTango, but then you're also not losing out on your connections or your presence on the other profiles. You're still engaged in everything that you want to be engaged in. So it's still allowing you to be part of all of the communities that you need to be part of. Yeah,
Yeah, so this was for people who might be afraid that there will be some pain in migrating to a new platform or having to manage several websites at the same time.
exactly. Yeah, I'm trying to make it easy for everybody. Yeah.